Right.
That's true. That's true. We confuse hunger with emotional attachment to food, or with like some kind of, like if you're at the movies, there's popcorn, or if you're, you're having a pizza, so now you have to have beer with it, type of thing. And the same thing is true with exercise, where you go through and you learn, and it's different levels, it's different phases. But I think when you've done it for a long time, you do start to get to a point where things become more intuitive, in the sense that, because I've heard people argue this and be like, intuitively, I just want to sit on the couch and do nothing. And it's like, well, that's actually the opposite. You're actually ignoring a lot of the signals that your body's telling you.
Right.
You're running away from them.
Well, if you sit on the couch and watch TV, it's an automatic checkout.
Yeah,
You know
you're
what I mean?
numb.
It's like that the television's the distraction.
It's that, or you're reading the signs wrong, right? Like you think you're
happens.
tired and you're fatigued, and you're simply, that's because you don't move all day long and you're fucking lethargic and you eat like shit, and so then you feel exhausted and tired, so you go to bed. But it's really not tired because you've been fucking moving. 'Cause if you actually moved, you probably feel amazing.
I think people need to go through a phase of, this is just the shit I have to do for a while.
Yes.
And just because the feedback loop's broken.
Yep.
So you gotta like, sometimes you gotta force something to kickstart the,
This is
God
why,
damn it,
this
I
is
love
why,
it.
This is why I believe everybody should at one point in their lives at least track and figure out, like at least track
Totally.
at one point in your
I've
life.
spent so much time weighing and measuring.
Right.
But, now it's completely unnecessary.
Right, exactly. I don't think you should, because then I think that could actually become unhealthy too.
Oh yeah, people
definitely.
get stuck there.
Right.
Definitely.
Then you can get to be this person.
Well, there's this. I think there's this thing that this is this type of person, this type of person, and there's not this assumption that they're actually supposed to graduate at some point.
Right.
I think what we could be doing better as fitness professionals is creating an expectation that you graduate from this shit
Absolutely.
Yeah.
instead of depending
or
on
the
calculators and whatnot.
prerequisites,
Yeah.
like what you want to focus on first, and then graduate towards and try to evolve.
Well, that's what I move
Yeah.
my clients to. When I have people track, I teach them how to track, and I teach them how to fluctuate and undulate their macros and undulate their calories, and then we inject fasting, and then we inject intuitive days, I'll call it, and we'll just track those. And intuitive days turn into cheat days for them, because that's what people think intuitive means.
Yeah.
And then we take a step back,
know.
but through that process, you get them to a point where it's stress-free.
I don't think you should do any intuitive eating until you've done fasting.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. No,
But
fasting
but
first.
I also believe that fasting comes later after counting and actually tracking, because
I
I
would
think
agree with that.
because I think some people will actually start to use fasting as a weight loss strategy when that's just a
it becomes a bad
byproduct.
connection.
Right. That's not why we shouldn't seek out, which is unfortunate because it's being marketed and pushed that way right now.
Yeah.
Fasting to lose body fat. Yes, it can. There's all kinds of extra benefits that actually end up
Probably the end result, but
Right.
not in the way that people think it is.
But it's not the reason why you should be seeking it, because then you're not fixing the root cause, because you have this real issue with your body image, right? That's going on, that's driving that to think, oh, I'm just going to starve myself. Then that becomes unhealthy. So I do think that, everybody has to kind of track at one point to kind of figure out what their body needs to stay where you're at. What's homeostasis look like for you? And then from there, you start introducing things like fasting, which I 100% believe you should learn that before you start messing with
It's funny because the longer you do this, like I'm realizing, it becomes more and more complicated, and then it becomes more simple. And what I mean by that is, like, Mike, you're talking about breathing. That's the most fundamental thing that we do as humans. But you've been in fitness for 20 years, and now you're like, oh fuck, breathing is so important.
Wasn't it the simple things?
It's the simple things.
It's always the simple things.
I had a paradigm fucking shattering moment
get
with
away from
chewing my fucking food.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
Chewing my food. We were talking to, I think it was Paul.
We shared this on the podcast not long ago. And I was, every once in a while when you do something on the show that like also you get this abnormal response from everybody, and that was one of them. Like nobody even thinks like that it's actually would be better for us to not drink fluids. Why we
your food.
I normally don't drink
mother.
20 minutes and 20 minutes before or after.
And people don't realize that. We think we've been trained, and it's because we're fucking shoveling it down. We take 2 or 3 bites and then we wash
It's like
it
we're
down.
taking supplements.
Right. And if you actually just got rid of the fluid and then just chewed your food, it's amazing how much you actually have to chew the food, which is such an important part of the digestive process that we're totally skipping and neglecting, which I'm sure has something to do with all these gut issues that everyone has.
Not only is it mechanical, not only is the food not as broken up by the time it starts making its way down, but it actually signals your body to create the chemicals necessary to break it down even further.
What you're doing when you don't chew your food, and there's lots of things that do this, but this is one thing, you're actually hijacking your systems of satiety. And so people don't realize there's lots of things that we do, including the way we engineer our food, that hijack these systems of satiety. And what I like to tell people is our bodies come with these incredible governors and signals that have evolved through thousands and thousands of years that will tell you when you need to eat, what you need to eat, and when you need to stop eating. And people think that we're these eating machines. If there's food in front of us, humans evolved around like little bit of food. So the reason why we eat so much is because there's food around us. That's not true, because when we made a hunt or we came upon a field of berries or whatever, if you overate then, that could mean your life. That could mean digestive distress, or it could actually kill you. And not chewing your food was not an option. You didn't always have fluid with you when you were swallowing your food, and if you choked, you were fucked. So these were things that we evolved with, and satiety is a signal that we have learned to hijack to teach ourselves to go around it.
Wow, it doesn't help too when you got foods that are being manufactured to manipulate that, right? That are designed and created to.
Not only are they like very tasty, but they're also they lack nutrient density. And this is something I've been talking more about lately. Is the foods you go to Europe, and the foods are much more micronutrient dense. And so you're getting the vitamins and minerals. And so your body goes, oh, I've got everything I need. I don't need to send out these signals. Whereas here we have no micronutrients, but only calories. So for the first time in human history, we have a malnourished population that's obese. And so and I think that a lot of the reason, and so when all that's available is Cheetos, to that person, and they go, oh, the body's telling them to eat more because they haven't gotten enough vitamin A yet, and they're grabbing Cheetos,
Now, so we're up in Silicon Valley, and there was this like thing that was happening. I don't even know if it's still happening anymore, where engineers, because people work themselves to death up there, right? And it's like a badge of honor to stay at your desk and not leave.
Soylent.
And Soylent, have you guys heard of Soylent?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It became this thing, and it had all the vitamins and minerals you needed, had everything you needed. It was perfect. That's so they said.
Yeah.
And all you had to do was drink it.
What the fuck is up with the name?
Such a good idea.
That's
The name. What the fuck, man?
I know.
people
Why
not
would
know?
you do that?
Did they never watch that movie?
People.
Yeah.
They forgot that part.
Yeah.
But I haven't actually seen what's in that, but isn't it supposed to be like all kind of shit ingredients?
It is, but it's got all the vitamins
It's
and minerals.
Yeah, but it's not a high quality thing, and that's why Connor made Ample, which is supposed to be the answer to Soylent.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
Which is actually like, if you look at that, if you're gonna drink a powder, that's one of my more favored ones. But even he's not for people.
Of course.
Like taking powders over food.
But I think
But he's in a Silicon Valley environment where people are just.
They're going to do it.
That's what
Don't
they're
do
gonna
that
fucking
because
do.
they're going to sit at
Yeah.
their desk
Yeah.
and be
That was my
productivity's
impression.
everything.
That was my impression of is that it's for almost like software engineers, and then like they don't care what's in it.
They don't
like
care,
they're not looking it up to like see if like it's the highest quality.
No, they think it's
ingredients.
cool because now they don't have to have the pain in the ass
It's the martyr thing.
of going to get food. Like, I can
Right.
just stay here. I don't have to go eat and socialize. This is awesome.
Yeah.
I could just work. But there is something to be said about real food aside from the things that we've already identified through science, like you eating something that's alive. And I don't think we don't have the science yet to describe what's happening when we're eating live food, but it's definitely there's definitely something real about it. I mean, what do you guys? Do you have anything to say about that or speculation? Because even talking with Paul Chek, who's like a wellness, we consider like a wellness god. He told us like if you don't eat, you want to eat life. You want to eat real living food, even if you made or synthesized food that had everything that you think is in the live food, it's still not the same. And
Right. No, totally.
What do you think about this? I never thought about this before, but like the microbiome is becoming a very popular thing to talk about.
Yeah.
We keep finding more and more benefits to having a healthy gut biome and whatnot. If you eat something that like currently is alive, you talk about something that like
I know where
is
you're going,
alive
I
like seconds before you eat it. Is that like we were talking?
Sure,
Like
sure.
You catch a fish and like you eat it
Right.
then and there.
Right.
Maybe raw in this case. If you did that and you're eating something that has a healthy microbiome,
Could you be eating that microbiome?
yeah, does that contribute to your microbiome? Like if they have live bacteria on them,
It makes sense to me that it
I'm
would.
sure.
It could, but I think that I don't even think we've really identified necessarily the human metabolism, animal metabolism is the second most complex thing we've identified in the universe besides the brain. It's extremely complex. It's something that we still don't fully understand. In fact, when we do things like we calculate like calories, what people don't realize is that's when we burn something with fire and we measure how long it takes to burn it, and then that's how many calories. Your body doesn't process food that way. You don't eat something and burn it on fire, and it's not the same thing. It's extremely, extremely complex. And there's something about living food. I have yet to see anything that's synthetic that does the same thing. I've experienced it myself and my clients, even competitors, even bodybuilding competitors, people who really don't give a shit about that. All they care about is how they look, will avoid all synthetic foods leading up to a competition, because they'll say things like, it makes me hold water. I don't look as sharp, or I don't, necessarily see these, these effects in my body. So there's something else to be said about it. As far as the microbiome is concerned, right now that's a hot topic because we're learning about it. We're just starting to learn about it, but I think it's so much more complex than we even understand. The microbiome changes all the time. You eat a meal now, and your microbiome changes than where it was before. If we analyze your poop, what we're analyzing are the bacteria that died, the bacteria that lost the battle to be alive in your gut. And if we send something down into your gut and analyze your gut, that's what it is at that particular moment. And there is a specific fingerprint from individual to individual. So I think there's a lot to learn there. But once we crack that, man, I think we'll solve a lot of problems, because it seems like most of these chronic issues can be at least traced to some root that comes from the gut.
Yeah.
Learning about the microbiome on the skin was something else that was big for me. Like, not using soap on everything all the time made a big difference.
4 years.
I only use soap.
What do you mean 4 years?
Yeah. Well, I only use soap when I shower after I do jiu-jitsu. And Mike never goes to jiu-jitsu with me anymore, except for once, like a month ago.
It's actually
doesn't need soap.
It's actually one reason I like jiu-jitsu. I'm like, if I start doing jiu-jitsu again, the few times I've done it, in the last few years, like every time I'm like using soap for the first time in like 6 months or a year. So I haven't used soap in 4 years.
What?
Yeah.
None?
Well, no, you wash your hands.
I
And
wash
shit
my
like
hands after I shit, but that's about it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
If I really
'Cause I
want
just
to
shook your
impress
hand earlier.
somebody,
Oh, good.
I'll wash
Yeah.
my hands after I
Now,
pee, but-
so what I think is interesting, because I can tell a difference in my body odor based off of my diet. So
Definitely.
I would think that someone like that has to be extremely strict about what you consume, or else you're like, oh fuck, you get this hot
Yeah.
day, you ate some shitty food earlier today, you're probably gonna smell.
I actually
fermented.
I don't really get swings because I think I eat so well all the time.
You're pretty consistent.
And it's funny is my wife was at her pole dancing studio, and that she dances at, and she was like, oh, this one girl's stinky, and I don't know if I should be sharing this.
As long as you don't say her name.
But the owner of the place approaches my wife, and she was like, how do we tell her? What do we do? And they were like trying to figure out how they're going to tell this person they smell. And should we tell them to take a shower? And I told her, I was like, she's not stinky because she's not showering. She's stinky because she eats like shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's probably that's why, yeah. It's just if you are like having to put on deodorant multiple times a day, you might want to look at what you're eating, right? Or something like that. Yeah.
Totally.
I notice a change in my own. I typically don't have an odor unless I'm anxious or nervous. Then it will change the way that my pheromones or something. And I actually looked it up, and this is actually true. You do put off a different odor, and you do alter your skin's microbiome if you're in a state of stress or anxiety. So, I mean, fucking weird. So this shit's like, it's changing all the time.
Yeah. One of the things I do regularly is I make sure that when I'm home is I get in the ocean, and then I don't shower for hours afterwards. And because, even when I do shower, I'm just rinsing off anyway, because there's so much out there to contribute to my biome. And if I'm on the road, sometimes I try to find a river or something.
Yeah. Have you guys read The Good Gut?
No.
Yeah, I think the Sonnenbergs, I think that's siblings that are out of Stanford. Like, Stanford's pretty close to you guys, right? Very close,
Yeah.
not too far. So yeah, that book's fantastic, and it just like goes like deep into gut microbiome, and like you were saying, like being outside, like kids that live in the country always have stronger microbiomes than kids that live in the cities. Like kids that have dogs have a stronger microbiome than kids that don't have dogs. Like all these little things, and that book gives a ton of really, really cool, tangible examples. But we were going to interview those guys a couple months ago, maybe 6 months ago, and it got canceled. We didn't end up doing it, but they're like right down the street from you guys.
Yeah, that's
so
right up the
I feel
road.
like you guys should go get them on your
Oh,
show.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I found
Rhonda Patrick had them on, and it was a really good episode.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay.
I found a study that somebody's from the country will have a more diverse gut biome, right? But they're finding that having a more narrow gut biome is more associated with intelligence. So it's it's correlated, of course.
Oh,
It's not-
okay.
you know, we're not looking at
You know why this
causation,
might be
but-
difficult
But they did studies on children who were all born at the same time, and then they tested them over time,
interesting.
and they
What's the theory then?
and then there
What's-
was also testing IQ, and then they end up finding that that's the case. So it's one of those things where maybe it's really good for this, but it's not for that, and maybe it's just correlation. You know, kids that are outdoors more may not score as high on IQ tests. You know, maybe someone who's playing on computers more. Right.
Yeah,
You know,
'cause-
there's like, you know, I don't know
Too many
exactly.
variables.
Yeah, there's a lot. Again, yeah,
There's a lot
exactly.
to
Too many
tease out.
variables. But it's interesting that that I looked at that piece of data and I go, oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
No, I think with that, I think that's very, very difficult to connect because of the variables. Because consider this: a kid growing up in the city today may be more exposed to school, education, reading, technology, versus someone who may grow up in the country nowadays. And so now they're correlating. Oh, he's got a higher IQ. And maybe it's the the more narrow microbiome. I think you got to look at the whole picture.
We always need to, but
Yeah.
it's rarely seen.
It is. That's interesting. I will say this: intelligence is also highly connected to dysfunction. The smarter someone is, the more likely that they are to have anxiety, mental dysfunction.
Social, just any of the social challenges.
Well, I feel like it's that way. If you excel at another level, look at your athletes, super intelligent people. You become so hyper focused or incredibly great at this one trait. You normally give something's got to give, right? You find that more common, I think, in the more extreme cases. But for the most part, we're all about average, and then you have those that are separate themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Those ones that completely separate themselves on all levels, whether you're talking about sports, intelligence, anything. Tend to always be the most.
So I watched this interesting talk. I belong to this forum on Facebook. It's this philosophy forum, and they'll post like these videos of these lectures by scientists and philosophers, and it's always fascinating stuff. And I love it because they're not afraid of getting controversial, but they'll post data because I like objective data, especially if it's controversial. And they were talking about how men make up a majority of the outliers. And what I mean by that is when you look at like a graph of, on one side, super intelligent achievers, and on the other side, super like people who just commit crimes and do horrible shit. Men are disproportionately more men on either side of those, and women make up a majority of the middle. Where we're more likely to be fucked up and crazy or super smart high achievers. And there's less of us kind of in the middle.
We go on the both sides of the extreme on the spectrum.
Yeah, and they were speculating that that's just kind of the male brain, that the way that
makes sense.
the way the man evolved to protect, hunt, and do all these different things, and of course the female evolved to be able to bear a child without dying, and to forage and build communities, and so we got those
stability.
So we got those kind of extremes, which is pretty crazy. I find that kind of stuff fascinating.
Yeah,
the differences between, the men and women, and the difference in ourselves.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Speaking of men and women and the differences,
I knew I'd get you going.
Yeah, I see what you did there.
You're in the same shit I am. I know it.
you guys have got to check out this documentary. Have you watched it yet, Doug? No. It's called The Red Pill. And so this feminist wanted to do a documentary about men's rights activists. And she was going to go in and slam these guys, essentially. And she even had footage of her, talking beforehand, yeah, these guys are probably, not great people and all this stuff. So she goes, and there's obviously different types of men's rights groups, but she ended up connecting with this one group. And when these guys started talking about the differences between men and women, or just the challenges that men face that women will never know, and just culturally, and it was things you never think of because she's like, oh yeah, that's just what guys do. That's just what a man's supposed to do. That's who he's supposed to be. And it's a paradigm shifting movie. And my wife brought it to me. She goes, oh, let's watch this. And I go, I'm not really interested in watching that. That doesn't sound appealing. She was like, just watch 15 minutes. I think you're going to like it. And sure enough, 15 minutes in, I was completely...
It's a Netflix?
It's in Netflix. Check it out.
Check that out.
Oh no, there's some interesting statistics. We make up a majority of the deaths on the job.
That was in the movie.
Yeah,
93%.
Yeah, most suicides. Obviously, there were the majority of the prison population. Believe it or not, the rape.
War.
Rape is very, very high among men. It's just not talked about, especially in prisons. Mental health issues are much higher.
If parents get divorced, the man statistically gets completely. Fucked.
Gets screwed. I just went through a divorce, and luckily we were amicable. But I could just see the lawyer like ready to, if she wanted to, just fuck me up. You know what I mean? And it's horrible. We're also stereotyped if we. I love people. I'm a people lover, but I always grew up around children. I'm the oldest of 4, and I had little cousins, and I love kids. Lover. But
you people lover.
when I go places with, my girlfriend, or at the time when I was married with my wife, and we would see children, and she'd be like, "Oh, let me pick them up and play with them." I had to be careful because here you see this grown man picking up this kid, thinking of whatever, and people automatically looking at you like you're some fucking weirdo because you're a man. Whereas women don't necessarily get that.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very, very interesting. Very fascinating stuff. But
you like that movie. I think if I found more compassion for myself in watching the movie, and my wife found more compassion for me watching it, which, yeah.
That's a win for all the men then. All you men listening, make sure you guys watch that.
I think it improved our relationship.
Oh, that's cool.
So it was like a movie that just gave us both huge insight into how the world.
I'm wondering if we're going to see more of that now, because I feel like we had in the, I don't know, was it late 90s or no, probably early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, like the feminist movement.
Oh, it started early. I mean, I started a long time ago.
I thought you were going to say the 60s or 70s.
Yeah, 60s, 70s.
No.
It really, I mean, that's when it started.
It came back again in like the late 90s, 2000, and I feel like it swung really hard, and I feel like these type of things are starting to come out more. I feel like we always do that.
I mean, it's just they were revealing something that was happening for women,
right?
But there was no awareness around what was going on for men,
right?
And so it just happened to be what came first,
mm-hmm.
and likely it was a repercussion of something going on one side, and it's just the pendulum swings back and forth.
What do you think about what's going on right now with the football? You watching what's going on with all the kneeling and shit like that?
I saw some stuff on social media, and then I heard a guy talking about it yesterday, which I don't know how much of what he was saying was accurate.
Yeah.
Sounded like he knew what he was talking about.
Yeah.
But I really don't pay attention to shit.
It's good. You're smart.
Yeah.
Like what some athlete has an opinion about doesn't really concern me.
That's what we talked about that, just saying that's the unfortunate part is what everyone's trying to talk about and the message behind it, the people coming forth that are saying things about it. That's all a PR move, telling him he has no fucking clue. He's so disconnected. We're all hating each other or calling race cards on each other. So that when it has nothing to do with the fucking real deal, it's just a song.
Yeah.
I feel like people spend too much time like focusing on shit like this. Like if you're the NFL or you're like the media company, I get it. You got to defend yourself as the NFL or whatever they're doing. I don't even know what the situation is really, but or the media company, they need views and they know people get riled up about this shit. But like as like guys that have a life
as a human, right?
Yeah, like we're entrepreneurs. Like we got shit to do. Like we're always trying to pursue like and master our health. Like we have like these big ambitious goals, and there's so many things that we don't know that we need to know to get to the next level to like become a better person and to grow our companies, et cetera, et cetera. And like we spend our time watching the fucking news about football players.
You're giving your power. You're giving your power away.
Like slightly disrespectful in some way or another. But it has no fucking effect on our life except it gets us kind of riled up a little bit and distracted from everything that's actually important.
And don't think for a second that's not all part of the plan. I mean, I know it sounds like a conspiracy theory, but I'll tell you what.
It is a conspiracy theory.
It sounds like it, but hear me out.
Yeah, it's the truth. I'll tell you what, man. You want to control people, you just separate them. You just make them separate themselves into different groups, and you create that illusion of separation, and you make everybody believe that they're all super different and identify with, things like they're, where they came from. I'm going to identify real strong with it, or I'm going to identify real strong with the fact that I'm a man, or I'm a woman, or I'm poor, or I'm rich, or whatever. And everybody fights each other. In the meantime, you're up at the top pulling the strings. Yeah. And you control the whole thing.
I feel like a lot of people don't have something that makes them unique, that makes them feel really important, that makes them feel special, and so they have to cling to something else that's like really not a part of who they are, like at a deep personal level, and so they cling to something very general. Like I'm a Patriots fan, or something like, you know, like, or whatever. Like it has nothing to do with them,
right.
but like they have to identify with it just to like know who they are because they don't know who they are.
Now, that would be like a form of inauthenticity.
Yeah.
How old do you think you guys were when you really started to put that together as a man? Like when did you? Because let's be honest, at one point we were all the fucking dumb dicks running around like the same way too.
Yeah.
But most people, or you'd like to think that lots of us evolve and grow from that, right? What point do you remember? Was there a paradigm shattering moment for either of you in your life where you're coming through as a man and you realized that you were focusing on all the bullshit and it was actually stopping you from growing? I remember
I
a moment.
I haven't figured out yet. I feel like every year it's the same thing. I'm like last year I didn't know what the hell I was
Doug
doing,
hasn't gotten there
but
yet.
This year, I got to figure it out. And like it's that constant cycle of like thinking like, okay, now I got my shit together. Like I didn't know them, and now I got it.
Well, I mean,
and
just
then next year you think the same thing.
Speaking of what you just said, like about, you know, I think is a very intelligent point that, you know, these people that are getting caught up in a question like I just asked, you know, you really have no business even. Why are you even focused on that? It's only keeping you trapped. You're not growing as an individual. Focus on your business, all these other things.
Yeah.
That mindset, do you remember when did you acquire that? Because you probably weren't born with it. That's something we normally learn because one day we finally fucking wake up. I was about 25. I remember for me, like something happened to me at work. It was, you know, at that time I didn't realize how important it was. And then later in my life, I look back and I go like, that was a very important moment where I put that together. And mine had to do with like, you know, I was so ambitious in the company that I was working. I thought my future 10 years later, I was going to be a VP. And I really believed that. And I was working towards that. Yeah. And then I had this like 2-3 years of realizing like, man, they may actually keep me in this position, like suck everything out of me right here. They don't give a fuck about me. They care about way bigger things than I'm this, you know, this is $1 billion company. I'm this big, you know? And I started to put that together. And then I went through this, like maybe a year of like feeling sorry for myself. Poor me. Like, you know, that's fucking bullshit, angry, you know, oh, I'm smarter than my boss and my boss's boss. This is bullshit type, you know, that mentality. Yeah. And then I remember just like a light bulb, I woke the fuck up and I thought, why am I allowing this company to dictate my personal growth? What is stopping me from becoming smarter than my own CEO that's running this $1 billion company? Right. I'm letting them dictate that by promoting me through it. What the fuck? And at that moment, I made this like detour in my life where I was in a chasing after personal growth, and I started reading more and more. And so, do you guys ever remember moments like that in your life that you were like, what the fuck am I doing? Wasting my time on this bullshit.
I think for me, there's actually two different phases of that. Like the first time was, and I was very fortunate that I found this early, was when I found training. Like when I found like lifting weights and like I played sports my whole life, played baseball since I was like in T-ball and all that. Like I've always been active, but like when I found like strength and conditioning, that was like the first time that I was like, I feel like this is me. This is the first time that I feel like this is the type of person that I'm going to be. This is going to be my future. And like once I had that experience of like something that I'm so passionate about that like I feel like I found my thing, that then I started like studying everything I could find. And then at that point, like wasting time doing something that's meaningless, like watching the news, like we mentioned.
Video games.
Right? Video games. That's actually true because I used to play video games when I was like 12, 13, 14. And then that's when 14 years old.
I played into my 20s, bro. I lived in my 20s.
Oh, yeah. Like 14 years old is when I stopped playing video games. I don't know if I like transitioned from video games to lifting weights, but that didn't make sense anymore because I found this other thing and like I could see that the rabbit hole was going to run deep. And there's so many things that I didn't know and so many things that I knew that I probably didn't know that I didn't know that I was never going to get there unless I fucking have like intense focus on studying for that thing. And so, you know, I started training and started lifting weights and like, you know, it helped me so much in high school. Like, you know, playing football and wrestling and whatnot. And then I liked it so much that I went to college for it. And then the big shift after that was when I like started being an entrepreneur. And then it was the same thing all over again. It was like, I think this is really cool. And I could see how it could be so beneficial. And fuck, there's so much that I don't know. And there's so much that I don't know that I don't know. Like I better like really be fully invested in this. And then just that whole cycle kind of started over again, except I had the health and fitness stuff, which I was still passionate about. And then I had this new thing. And so it was like, I had to like even double down. Like now there's really no reason I should be focusing on anything that's not important. That's just like a total distraction. And I should like dig deep into learning every aspect of entrepreneur and business and sales and marketing and product generation and leadership and blah, 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 blah. Like,
awesome.
Like there's so many categories that they all run deep.
Right.
Like there's just no time to do anything else.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mike,
if you want to be great.
Did you have moments like that? Do you remember that?
He's all every day.
I wake up and piss excellence.
I remember I was a bit of a sports fan when I was in high school, and then I went in the Navy, and so I was like on and off watching football. And then when I got out of the Navy, I pretty much stopped watching sports. And I think because I had to get my shit together and start focusing. So for me, it was like, I remember that when I stopped watching sports, and then when I stopped following politics. And because politics became sports for me. Right?
Wow, interesting.
So like
We've made that connection.
I always followed sports and politics when I was a kid, heavy. And then, I got to a point where I was like, I don't have time. You know, sports aren't important, but politics are. And then around 2012, I that election was just fucking so gross that I just was done with it. And after that, I did have a big realization of like, I need to just focus on what I can control. And what I can control is my own development.
Yeah.
And so I really, that was the point in which I stopped focusing on anything outside of myself and really went internal.
How old are you at the time?
I actually have trouble getting external these days.
How old were you at that time?
I was 20. That was about 2012. It was during that year. What's this year? 2017.
Yeah, 5 years ago.
I was 30.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you know, Doug, you said something about video games. Reminded me, gave me a memory, right? I remember my buddy who we worked together, and he was really, really successful. He was about 4 or 5 years older than me. And I'm in my mid-20s this time, and I fucking love video games. But that was my thing. My buddies that we grew up as kids, we'd come over and we'd game out, dude, all weekend long and just muck out for fucking 10 hours into video games. And I absolutely loved it. But I had owned my home. I was making good money. So in my mind, I justified like, hey, I can have things and do things and be successful at my age and still play fucking video games. And I love playing. And I remember my buddy always teasing me like, when are you going to grow up and get rid of those? I'm like, fuck you, bro. I'm going to play them forever because I love them. I love playing them. Why would I ever stop doing something that I love? And it took later on in my life when there was other things that become more important. Oh, I want to build this, or I want to start this, I want to do that. And when I'd have those moments, like you talk about the self-reflection thing, where, feeling sorry for myself, oh, I don't have enough time, or, oh, well, I am carving out all this time for this thing that I called my video game time that I love so much. Well, I can't say that I love this so much if I'm not willing to sacrifice that to make an effort towards it. I think a lot of people get stuck here. They get stuck in things that become habitual and they don't realize, and maybe it entertains them or makes them less present at the moment. And so you get sucked into it as thinking that you love it, but then we claim that we want these other things, but then we're not willing to.
I think in that case, you're signaling to your body that you're ready to die.
I agree.
So it's like,
I
not only are you wasting time, but I think you're actually shaving years off your life.
There's all kinds of studies to show like when people stop working, like how quick.
You need to be stimulating yourself. Man. Like something that's not stimulated dies. That's what's supposed to happen. So we gotta, if you want to live longer and fuller, then staying stimulated on a regular basis, I think is really, really important.
It is it's the human condition. It's what I call the human, like it's like this insanity that we have. You're familiar with Eckhart Tolle? You ever read like A New Earth? Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So I just recently read that, and had I read that book 5 years ago or 10 years ago, I don't think it would have resonated as strongly. I think you have to be ready for a message like that, because I'd heard stuff like that before, like don't identify with your thoughts. You are not your thoughts, or you are not your body. And but it really made sense to me for the first time relatively recently, and that's a mind-shattering realization to realize that you are not those things. You are the thing that's witnessing or observing all of those things.
Yeah, I used to think about that in that way. Like I see thoughts as more of a sense now. It's like it's the sixth sense, and then I feel like I am my body. I think that's the only thing we have.
So what's
I think everything about who you are is in this body.
It's inside this body, but if you look at even from an objective scientific standpoint, you look at some of the research done by Dr. V.S. Ramachandran, right, where he discovered, he the inventor of the mirror box with people with phantom limb syndrome, or they can do these experiments with you where you will perceive your body to be the body of a doll. where they'll take this like VR camera. So, there's also something called mirror neurons, where you'll watch someone do a motion and your brain will react as if you're doing it. But the only thing that tells you you're not doing it is the sensations of the outside of your body. So, are you really truly your body? Like when people say I am fat, like, are you fat? Are you that? Or is your body fat?
Yeah.
And not necessarily you're trying to create this separation, but I think being able to step outside like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this: the body creates the experience. But I mean, you want to talk about the watcher.
That resonates definitely.
The watcher is a different thing, but the body creates is the experience. It creates the experience, and it's your. I mean, if you want to talk about consciousness, then we could just say it's just light and energy. I mean, that's all we are.
Yeah. Who knows?
You could argue that.
Yeah. Who knows, right? Who knows what that is? But for me, just realizing that I'm not those things really changed how I was able to perceive things. I didn't stress over the same types of things. I didn't create those repetitive thought patterns in my mind that can cause anxiety or stress or whatever. And that was more of a recent, I guess, growth for me.
I did something recently that it unexpectedly raised my awareness considerably, which is Landmark Forum, and it's 3 13-hour days, and it's like almost straight through, and
what is it?
It's a personal development course.
Oh, okay.
And it's for the price. It's incredibly. It's like $665, like $600. But it's something that I've spent more than that on less in the past. So. And
what is it for? Is it for business development or personal development? The whole
personal
thing?
development. You'll get benefits across the board.
Do you guys?
A lot of what you're talking about, if people want to get access to what you're saying right now, you would get access to that in a single weekend.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How often on the show do you guys go into topics in this direction on your guys' show?
These types of topics, not very often.
Never.
Yeah.
No,
because I always
Mike has a separate show called the Bledsoe Show where they talk.
That one
about
goes
this
all
type
over
of
the place.
stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Now, would you? Because I know we recorded a podcast a long time ago that we weren't able to air. We had some technical difficulties, and we talked about
just a little.
There was a lot of difficulties. Some were technical, some were not.
Yeah, but there was some. We talked about origins of whatever. You guys have been working together for a long time. You guys have seemed to have great chemistry. Was it like that from the beginning? Did you guys meet and do this and it's like, boom, let's make this happen? It felt like that for us. And seeing you guys, together and talk, it feels very similar.
Yeah, I mean, from day one, it was obvious that me and Mike were different sides of the same coin, so to speak. We had similar passions, but his style's the opposite of mine in many, many ways. And so working together from day one was really, really easy because something would come up, and then it would be obvious like who was going to do it. He would be like, "Oh, I got that," and I'd be like, "Oh, thank God, fuck."
Yeah.
And vice versa. All the things that I would be willing to do, he didn't want to do it, and all the things that.
Keep going. Sorry about that.
Yeah, and so we're a complementary pair in many, many ways, and so it clicked from the beginning. And we didn't necessarily plan that; it just kind of happened like that. So we're lucky that we didn't find business partners that were the same personality type and had the same skill set. Where like we're both going to fight over the things we both want to do, and then we're both going to neglect the things we don't want to do, and shit's going to fall apart.
Was the original goal of Barbell Shrugged or your original purpose, has that changed? In other words, how has it morphed since you guys started your podcast?
Yeah, I would love for you to walk me through the rise. Like when you guys first started, we're probably making no fucking money.
Yeah,
and
it's like the same the whole time.
Yeah.
The
whole time ever.
I mean, the core purpose is actually the same. The core purpose is like to bring really great information to people who are passionate about health and fitness. It's like you're passionate about health and fitness, and we want to highlight the thing that we want to fill the gaps. And we look out at the marketplace and we see the type of information that's put out, and we go, look, I know people are talking about this over here, but man, check this out over here. There's something going on that's way further down the road than what people are commonly accepting. So I think for us, like our job has always been to bring information that's going to be fresh and help solve people's problems.
Did you guys have a large listenership from the gate, or was it a process?
No.
What were some of the
anybody? We were brand spanking new.
We were literally recording the show and then throwing it up on our Facebook and being like, "Hey, you guys want to check this out?"
What was the first big?
Hundreds of people
What was the first big boost that you guys felt?
and my
Do you
friend
remember
list.
what it was?
Oh yeah.
So what?
What was your first like big boost that you guys felt, or were you like, okay, when did you guys look at each other and go like, we might have something here?
Well, I say that the first notable thing that got us, got some attention for us was the fact that we're friends with Rich Froning, who was like the multiple time CrossFit Games champion. He's the poster boy for CrossFit. Like he just was like the best of the best of the best. Like during his reign, right. And he lived in Tennessee, and we lived in Tennessee, and so he came on the show like episode 2. Oh, wow. And that really helped us get some foothold in the, still to this day is one of our most popular videos. It's like that one of those first episodes. Oh, wow. He's been on the show multiple times since. So that was something that really helped us get off the ground. But it wasn't quick. Like it was a year before we had any real traction. Like real traction. Yeah.
I think it was about 18 months before we were making enough money to where we were making more money with the online business than we were with the gym business.
Yeah.
So I think
we were already running a gym together.
That's right. That's right.
Already.
See, I know this story already, but the audience doesn't know. I know your audience probably knows it, but ours doesn't. So you guys had a gym.
People ask, they're like, "Oh, I'm starting a podcast. How long did it take you before you were making money?" I'm like, 18 months. Mm-hmm. It's like crickets,
which is fast,
and that's 18 months studying and working night and day to figure out how the fuck to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we didn't monetize for a full year. We didn't turn on the monetization. We did a whole year of episodes. Probably how many episodes
over
did we air?
Over
100 episodes before we said, okay, let's start. Let's see if we can. We have something here.
Yeah, we didn't sell a lot in the beginning either.
Yeah. Did you? But
I think it was like 6 months before we even sold anything online.
Mm-hmm. How long ago was that again? When did you guys start?
2012.
You guys have been in air for a long time. When you listen to those old episodes, you guys like, we
don't listen to those old episodes.
I haven't listened to any of those episodes in a while.
Wow.
It's funny though. I felt this when we listened to them when we first started. I thought we were good though. When we first heard ourselves, I was like, hey, we're pretty good at this. We got this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now I look back and we all cringe. Like,
no fucking way.
Yeah.
People are like, they're like, I love your, I love your show. I started at the beginning. I'm like,
that's exactly what it is.
No, start at the latest and then work your way back. There's no reason that you don't even have to go in any particular order, but don't do the early ones. Those suck.
Yeah. If you weren't cringing though, that means you didn't get any better.
Right.
Yeah. So that means you're making progress.
Right.
Yeah. When we first started with Mind Pump, before we even aired an episode, we sat down. We were actually in Adam's living room, and it was like, I swear to God, it was like from the first second because I didn't know these two until we started Mind Pump. So we sit down, and it was the first time I met Justin. Mm-hmm. And it was really the first time that me and Adam even really hung out because I'd met you a couple times briefly, so totally new. We had been talked over the phone. We sit down on the couch and it was like
they
fire.
Were sharing selfies, like they were like back and forth, like who's got the best lat pose. That kind of
I remember that.
Yeah,
Magic was in the air.
I remember that.
Happened.
We were talking shit to each other.
Well, at that time, I had already
competition.
I had already made the decision that I wanted to build a online business through either Facebook, Instagram, or a social media platform, and that was motivated from I don't know where Taylor's at, where he is. So that's a really cool. It's a really cool story how he's come full circle and now works for the company because he is really the one that inspired. Really the spark in me to go and build a social media business to then end up pivoting to all of us doing a podcast together and now where we're at. And it was because he started a business. It was brilliant. He was only like 23 years old. We played on a basketball team. I used to play in a rec league and I'm a good 5+ years older than he is. And I seen this kid coming in. And he always had nice shoes. He had a nice car. He could kind of come and go as he pleased. I'm like, man, what's this kid? And I knew he was a good kid, so I knew he wasn't like a drug dealer or something. So I'm like,
hey, good kids are drug dealers. Don't get it twisted, man.
My drug dealer is good.
That's right.
He's a good kid.
And
we'll talk afterwards.
I said, I gotta. Can I get lunch with you, man? I want to hear what is it that what are you doing, right? And he said, yeah, no. So I built this little. Online business off my Facebook page. I'm like, okay, what do you mean? Like you actually have a legitimate business from your Facebook? And at that time I had heard people doing that, but I didn't know anybody yet. Like I'd heard like people, oh yeah, you could make money doing that, but I hadn't seen anybody really doing it.
Right.
And so, here's this young kid who had built this legitimate, solid business off of his Facebook. And I had to know, like, what did you do? And he said, well, he was, and I don't know if you guys are shoe guys at all or not, but I'm a shoe guy, and that's how we got connected right away.
Everybody looks at your shoes.
I
Right
don't
away.
know what the fuck that means.
Yeah.
I love my shoes.
No, I mean, like I am a sneakerhead. Like I have a whole room that's full of
That's a
nothing but
thing, dude.
sneakers. Yeah.
It's a thing.
Oh no, I've known people who do.
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So I mean,
Oh, you're one of those.
yeah,
Yeah,
with it,
he's one of those.
keep them in all like cases and crazy shit like that.
It's like baseball cards,
Right,
except he's
yeah.
an adult.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Crazy, all that stuff.
So, anyways, there's actually a lot of people that do this, and there's like a it's turned into there's a great TED talk on them right
Isn't
now.
there an app?
There's apps.
You can buy and sell your shoes on this app.
yeah,
Yeah.
and a lot of them now, and they've done a really good job. I mean, you can buy a pair of shoes, and some of the shoes I have are worth more than what I paid for them 2-3 years ago, right? So they hold their value. You can wear them and still resell them for more. It's actually really funny, this market that we've created. And Jordan and Nike are a big part of why that's happened, and that's a whole other story.
And there's an abundance of something. This is the way we figure out how to like
Limit it and make something.
fucking who knows?
Right.
I don't even know what to call it.
But I was fascinated that this
Human
kid
beings
could
are
put this
interesting.
together. And what he did that was so smart was, instead of and he was a broker, so it was like, okay, I'll put, Mike, you're looking for the Jordans 13s. I've got, Justin, who owns them, and they're this much is the value for
And
them.
that's it. He made a business around
But
it.
what he didn't do was he didn't make any money. He just was the guy who connected everybody, and so that hustle was already there. People were doing that and making money. But what made his social media grow so fast was that ability that nobody was really, kind of flipped it on its head of, I'm just going to gather all these people that have something in common, and then pivoted and built a business off of that it was centered around sneakers, like air fresheners, clocks, T-shirts that had sneakers and all the stuff off of it. So that's what originally got me going, okay, if this kid can fucking do this, I could do this while I'm doing all my other shit. And so I started getting into Instagram, Facebook, and I saw what everybody was doing. And I knew at that time too, in our field, that the guys that are on the cover of the magazine and the pro bodybuilders and women's bikini girls are the ones that everybody's looking for answers to. It doesn't matter how smart you are right now, and the pendulum is swinging. We're getting there, but still, these guys that are getting the most amount of attention, 4 million, 6 million followers, are some of the guys that are giving the worst information out there. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to.
Oh man, no. Instagram follows is a direct. It's a direct correlation to quality content. 100%.
But it's crazy that when I don't know how much
Motivation
you
Monday.
pay attention to those. There's kids out there.
I don't
that
pay
are,
attention
Oh
to
man,
it.
there's kids out there that have got 4 million followers. They're 20 years old. They don't know a lick about fucking nutrition and science, and they're selling fucking millions of dollars.
I don't
of
know. I
programs.
mean, the average person that walked in the fucking training studio and hires a personal trainer is getting the same thing. It's just magnified now.
You're probably right.
It's just magnified.
Yeah.
I think
Well, actually,
And
I don't.
maybe we just need to be showing our abs more often. You know what I'm saying?
I don't even know if I don't even know
middle.
because at least a trainer should have some kind of education. Most gyms won't employ you unless you have something, and then they're also accountable because it's face to
I
face.
see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah. No, I've gone recently to I've gone to some educational movement things. I'll just say that. And I've met people there that have channels, and it's bad.
It's scary.
It's like they get talking to me, and I'm going, they have no idea what they're talking about, and they're talking about what they put on YouTube yesterday or tomorrow, and I'm going, wow, this is like not good.
Do you know why?
Their beliefs around health and fitness are closer to other people who are also beginners, which is always going to be the largest segment of the population
Totally.
for any category. And so what they're saying on social media connects with like the general population. And if you're a fitness and nutrition expert, you think they're silly, but it's you and just like the other 1%ers.
Well, I believe that's a lot of what inspired us to do what we're doing. Is we're trying to merge that gap. Like that's why I do follow all this stuff. I don't follow this stuff because I obsess over a bunch of fucking 20-year-old boys that are fucking selling $1 million of their programs.
Had me
I'm
fooled.
not obsessed. It's a
Well,
it's a
but no.
healthy.
what I'm fascinated
I just
in
like 'em,
is,
okay?
is
I only
that
do it 2 hours a
what
day.
they're doing is obviously working,
bed.
right?
Yeah.
People are paying attention, listening, right? And
It's because they're not
Yeah, well,
boring,
what
man.
can
The
we
people
learn
with good
from that?
information are fucking boring.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
That's
You
what
know-
it is.
And
And they're not cool.
what we that's it.
Dorks.
It's
I'm gonna
true.
be honest.
Look, I tell you what.
You call
it's-
me a nerd?
Yeah,
just
maybe.
saying.
No, you're
Just
actually pretty cool,
Check
and you're
yourself.
weird, and I like that about you.
You're one of the rare breeds.
Yeah, but with like Mind Pump, like we have a lot of comedy in our show on accident. We're just joking around, talking, and that gets us way more, makes us way more effective than if we were just sitting there presenting information. It's like part of our formula that we kind of did on accident. But that's the thing. It's like you either have really good information and you're boring and dry and nobody wants to listen to you, or you're flashy, entertaining, funny, hot, whatever, and you're giving the worst fucking information of all time. And who's going to win the information war?
The dumbass.
The freaking entertaining, the entertaining guy.
So we're trying to merge that.
Everyone's instant gratification minded at some level. Maybe it varies from person to person. You know, people that are like super pro can like kind of suppress that and like think long term a lot more often than someone who's more of a beginner who just wants instant gratification. But like the entertainment piece, when someone's listening to this, the entertainment piece is the instant gratification. They're feeling good right now.
Yes.
The education piece is feeling good later because they can be able to make better decisions or make more money
We're sneaking
or
it in,
figure
man.
out their health. So by being educational and entertaining, you're taking care of instant gratification and the long-term gratification both together. But if you skip instant gratification, then you're going to lose them.
Well, and this is the debate I used to get with a lot of your academia peeps, because they get so hung up on the details and wanting to be right and sound so smart that they're really not getting through to these people that they're trying to help. They're so caught up on how smart I am and am I on the new cutting edge science. It's like, this is just falling on deaf ears. No one's even paying attention. These guys are staring at some kid who's driving around in a fancy car. You're trying to explain something way beyond them. You got to find there somewhere in the middle if you're really going to help those people. Otherwise, all you're really speaking to are other really educated people that want to hear more good information like that.
My strength coach from growing up is a great guy, still a good friend of mine, and he was telling me about a study years ago about this same topic where they ran different groups and they somehow figured out how to quantify all this. But it was like if you're presenting information to an audience and then if you're presenting information to an audience and then you ask them to recall that information sometime later the next day or the next week or what have you, the people that presented the information in a fashion that was like 75% entertainment and then like 25% like solid content, they had more retention because those people were engaged and actually listening, and they didn't get too many concepts to memorize.
Wow.
And so the ones they learned, they actually remembered than the people that had the
That
information
seems so
the other way.
obvious to me. But it's definitely something that like people don't realize that. It's just like,
well, what is it? Yeah. What is it that causes the guys that are? And it's the ego, right? It's the ego that causes you as the super. You went through all this school. I got 8 years of education. I've learned all these technical words.
You want them to know, like
that's not,
all of your work leading up to this point.
Right. I'm not going to dumb it down just so I can really. That's the ego. That's
and that happens in academia too. Is like talking about sometimes people who are in academia get in front of a general population crowd, and then it's as if they're talking to their peers, and not to students. It's like there's another professor in the room.
That always happens.
Totally
it's
unrelatable.
more how often
that happens to coaches.
Name on one hand how many like really brilliant minds that really connect to people really well. There's not a lot.
A handful.
Yeah. And they're normally very special, right?
Let me tell you something.
That's a status play though. Of like,
sure.
if you're an academic and like you're like one of the best in your field, like if you're presenting to an audience, especially if it's being recorded, that all your other peers that are also experts in the field are going to listen to that. And like,
totally.
So even though you're supposed to be educating the audience who might be they're just regular old people or whatever, like you still know that the people you're going to be judged by, because the audience doesn't know like.
It's you feeding your ego.
They don't know what scapular retraction means.
Yeah, they don't know if you're good or not. Like they just know you know more than them because they don't know much of anything.
Right.
If they're beginners. So
I'll tell you
a lot of times those guys will be speaking really not to the audience, but like they're like hedging their bets that someone that is a peer is going to think, oh, that guy is actually not that great. He's full of shit.
It's like he's saying the ego. I'll tell you what. I taught sales training for a long time at 24 Hour Fitness. This is one of my things, and I used to tell my people, my trainers and my sales guys, like. It's not, don't think of it as sales. It's effective communication. And communication skills are skills you can learn and practice. And those are some of the most valuable skills you can have, period, hands down.
I would say that would be the most.
Number one.
Number one.
In all of life.
Behind being able to, like, produce your own food.
Yeah.
It's like know how to, like, eat, survive the wilderness, and then communication.
Look, think of it this way. Carl Sagan did more for physics than all of his predecessors combined for the average person, because Carl Sagan got on TV and he fucking communicated it so well that all of a sudden you're like, I want to learn quantum physics.
Wow, that's
the
interesting.
most boring, weird shit in the world, but you want to learn it because Carl Sagan communicated it so fucking well.
Oh, man.
Documentaries like what the
I'm being
bleep do we know?
inspired,
Same
Sal.
thing.
I'm being inspired. I'm going to start upping my communication.
Well, those
game.
people just stand out like a sore thumb because there's not a lot of people that have that ability. Most of the ones that are up there, again, they're driven by ego so much that they can't get beyond that. They're not really connecting and helping as many. And it's not to say they're not helping somebody. Of course, there's somebody that picks it up and gets it. But when we talk about the masses, like how many people are really able to break down any of that information, much less go apply it too. So
I'll tell you what, you watch, for me personally, I have a passion for economics. The person that did that for me was Milton Friedman. Milton Friedman, it's very much like the Carl Sagan of economics.
Oh, yeah. What was that show?
Free to
it was like
choose.
Free to choose.
Fucking
That's right.
life-changing, right?
Yeah.
But
I remember downloading that on Napster.
oh shit, that's great.
date yourself right now.
But again,
He showed it to me. I was
Thousands
like,
of free
oh,
songs.
that's fucking rad.
yeah, he has a way when he
Sal
did.
turned me on
Look
to it.
up. Look, if you're listening right now, go on YouTube and look up the pencil.
Pencil, yeah.
Milton Friedman. Very short. I think it's like 4 minutes.
Oh yeah, that's a
And-
good video.
And that is now what he's explaining
Very
is
impactful.
economic science. He's nothing breakthrough about it, but the way he's communicating is so effective that the average person can watch it and feel inspired, and you'll remember that. You won't forget that. Communication skills are so important that if you don't have them, then all the knowledge you have, everything you want to share, can be pretty much worthless. It could be useless because how can you possibly transfer that to the other person? And so it's unfortunately, communication skills are not only are they not taught, but effective salespeople, people who are the best communicators in the world, by the way, are salespeople, the best salespeople. And I want to be clear here because when I say sales, people get a negative connotation. The best salespeople have a lot of integrity because true communication comes from integrity. You're not nearly as effective when you're bullshitting as you are when you believe in what you're talking about.
Yeah, I would say that I've seen the biggest benefits in my ability to sell something came from getting more in touch with like my authentic self.
Right.
It's like, there's a more authentic expression of who I am, and all of a sudden, all these sales tactics I'd been introduced to make more sense. It was like, this just falls in line if I'm just being authentic.
I'll tell you what, when I started in fitness as a personal trainer, I was 18 years old. I was a kid. I walked into one of the big box flagship clubs of 24 Hour Fitness. This was back in 1997 or 98. And I walk in there, I get hired. My first day, I sold more training than their top trainer had sold all month. Now, I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. I had no idea what I was talking about, but I had a passion for fitness. I had a little bit of knowledge. I didn't have a ton of knowledge, just a little bit of it. But because I was able to communicate my passion, that's all I was able to do very effectively. People, I was able to communicate that so well to them that they bought from me. My goal wasn't to sell them either. It was just to communicate what I felt, and I was able to do that effectively. And it took me years to be able to identify what that really was. In fact, when they used to come and ask me in those early days, I remember they would send these district managers and vice presidents, and eventually the CEO came to see me, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I remember thinking, like, I have no idea. Like, I don't know exactly what I'm doing. And it took me years to analyze and break it down. But
When
really,
you're natural at something, that it does take a long time to be able to look back and go, that was the process I was following.
it does. The ability to get someone to feel something is what effective communication is all about. And if we as fitness professionals can get better at that, then we're going to get the right information out there, and then we're going to make real change. Because right now, the people who are practicing that, who are masters of communications, are the ones selling the bullshit Herbalife 30-day, get fucking fit in 30 days, get ripped, and all that shit. And it's true. They're the ones that are captivating. They're the ones inspiring people. I get on Instagram and I look at some of these morons who are giving horrible fitness advice, and people are, you're so inspiring. This is changing my life.
Yeah.
It's because they're communicating to these people, and they're feeling it, and they're getting bad information. So, I mean, that's what we should really be focusing on our skills on versus, and we're going to learn shit anyway because we love it, right? But we get better at communicating. That's when we change things.
Yep.
Agreed.
Yeah, no debate there. I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is it-
We got dinner coming up, dude.
We're all
Slow
good.
clap.
man.
Let's all
Slow
slow clap that
clap,
way.
man.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, thanks for meeting with us.
We're going to go do VIP dinner.
VIP dinner.
Yeah.
We'll have
Are you
this.
guys going
Do
straight
they have
from here?
steaks
We're going to
there?
get wined and dined.
Is that?
So I think
All right,
we're going to introduce this to both of our audiences. So where can our people find you guys?
Barbellshrugged.com.
Good. And you can find us, obviously, Mind Pump on iTunes. Our YouTube channel is Mind Pump TV, and our website, mindpumpmedia.com.
Right on. You can also find us on Instagram, Barbell Shrugged Podcast on Instagram and on Facebook. I'm Douglas E. Larson on Instagram.
Mike_Bledsoe. Don't follow me unless you want to be thoroughly entertained. And
he does.
Hey, I'll tell you, I'm gonna vouch for you right now. I'm gonna vouch for
We
you right
want
now.
the underwear yoga session.
I like genuine weird people. Cool. Like me and Mike connected straight out when I first met him.
Yeah.
If you follow him, you'll have a good time.
Follow him, you'll have a
You'll
good time.
enjoy it.
I've never heard anyone say that for an Instagram. Follow his Instagram. You'll have a
Bro,
good
watch his
time.
Insta
It'll be a
stories.
good time.
I watch his
It's like the
Insta
writing on
stories.
the bathroom stall.
Oh, I
For a
watch
good
his
time called
when I
Bledsoe.
watch his Insta stories. I'm like, I don't know if I should be watching this, like,
Yeah.
but I'm
intrigued.
captivated.
yeah, I have this thing called #extreme balance. So you may see me like meditating one moment, and then like the next, and then like 5 hours later, it goes from that serene moment to like fucking lasers.
And it's all in his underwear.
100%.
Every single one is in his underwear.
For all you ladies.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, thanks, guys. Oh, and then you have another podcast.
That's right. The Bledsoe Show.
Which is much more on the like personal development, consciousness.
If you like all the
Psychedelics.
woo shit we talked about today, that's
Yeah.
where you should go.
Or quantum physics.
Oh, bro,
Yeah.
I got to get on your show. Let's get fucking weird on that shit.
I'm down. Let's
All
do
right,
it.
all right.
Let's wait till like 3 o'clock in the morning. So between 3 and 5 a.m.
I'm so
is the
down, dude.
most creative hours of the day.
I want to
So-
do a podcast so crazy that we have to seriously discuss whether or not we can air it. That's what I want to do.
Wow.